So the next one is on the construction. So of course, in terms of the construction, I think requirement is the hardest way in terms of getting the right requirement. So I have delivered this so-called the solution on the business IT architecture fundamental, whereby in the earlier webinar, whereby I share with you about how do we capture the right requirement. So here, basically the highlight is that getting the right requirement is very, very important. And this is the fact. Different stakeholders may have different requirements, and they may express this in quite different ways. So we need to be able to understand this. And of course, stakeholders often do not really know what they want from the computer system, except in the most general terms. So we also need to understand the challenges, because we cannot say anything blame to them, because it's also our fault for not understanding or for not being able to capture the right requirement. And this is also quite true. Requirement may emerge from new stakeholders who were not originally consulted. So we may skip one stakeholder, suddenly this stakeholder came to the pictures halfway in our work or towards the end, and this stakeholder raised a concern. So we need to address this tactfully. And of course, traceability is also very, very important. We need to know that who originated this requirement and who approved the changes into the current so-called system. We need to track this, because otherwise when thing goes wrong, everybody will do finger pointing. And as mentioned that why this one important, traceability, because we need to know how the decision being made, how can we track the changes, how can we implicate part of software system after the requirement change, because we need to know so-called impact analysis. That's why the tool like the Archimate and the digital EA repository will help us to understand this. And we also need to know what are the slight change in the decision that could alter our architecture. And of course, how can we make our architecture more flexible moving forward. So in terms of the toolset, we definitely need the Archimate and UML, and also all the design patterns. And we also need to have digital EA repository that can connect from the Archimate, from the architecture building block to the solution building block in the UML or BPMN. Because in the today's world, we cannot do a manual anymore. We are not going to use the hammer and the nail to craft something. We need to use a digital automated tool to help us to do the job. So the topic number 5 is about software architecture lifecycle. So in terms of the lifecycle, the most important part is that we need to balance the teams. So we need to have a qualified staffing in terms of the skill set. That's why earlier mentioned that in my beginning of the presentation, we need to have someone get properly trained. Not only good in terms of the technical part, but also need to balance in terms of the human dynamic, understanding the business, and etc. Because at the end of the day, whatever we do in the software architecture need to deliver value to the business. And of course, we also need to map what we do with all the organization goals, and also software architect need to work with other enterprise architects. And of course, we also need to ensure that the governance framework is in place. And we also need to highlight all the risks, manage and mitigate the risk itself. Because every project comes with the risk. So software architect need to highlight all the issue upfront, so that when things goes wrong, we can immediately take the so-called precautious measurement. So the context of architecture within the enterprise. So this is typically the structure. Information architect will be cross 3 domains: the business, software, and technology. So typically the business will have a direct relationship with the software architecture. Software architecture have a direct relationship with the technology architecture, and all these need to be modeled properly. Then of course, we need to have a digital EA that we are so-called integrating all the domain of architecture. Then we also need to ensure that security compliant today, like the cybersecurity, and also all the services, digital services that currently need to be in place, also need to be integrated. Then we also need to align whatever we do with the digital transformation and the strategy roadmap that has been set. Then all these so-called business, software, technology, and the data will need to form into the solution architecture. Solution architecture is where the architecture ready for the development. Basically, this one we assign all the vendor name, technology, etc. Then from there, we can fit that into the PMO, the digital transformation execution team, to execute the project. So this is the very comprehensive structure how the architect should work together with the PMO team, project management team, and also with all the transformation team to drive the continuous transformation. So basically what happened is that if you don't have enterprise architecture formality, you have the PMO running multiple projects, and here you have the so-called the ITSM to support your initiative in terms of the service level agreement and etc. But what we are trying to achieve here is that we need to establish the enterprise architecture office, and in here you got the business, data, software, infrastructure, and solution architecture team that work together to understand the gap, and then after that the gap you pass that into the project management office PMO to become a project. Then at the bottom you need to have a single source of truth on the digital EA repository in terms of the governance, catalog, matrices, bidding block, etc. Then the top one is where you need to connect the business technology steering committee to drive all the three pillars of a digital team that enable so-called digital technology team, from architecture office to project office to the support office. We also need to, in terms of the deployment, we also need to understand the testing, because we cannot release something that are having some bugs. So we need to minimize whatever we know about software testing to be done comprehensively. So the concept here, of course, they got all type of testing from the requirement. We can also use that to become the UAT, user acceptance testing. Then functional specification become system test plan. Then high level design become integration test plan, and then detail level design become unit test plan and the source code. So basically is that if any bugs you found at the lower level, it's cheaper to fix than you find at the UAT or you go live. Because when the system goes live, anything that having some bugs, not only very expensive to fix, but can cause our company, our organization, a reputation damage. So we need to ensure that we have a proper testing plan. So these are a complete testing methods. So from the static to the dynamic testing. Yeah, so static mean you have to review, walkthrough, or inspection. This one also now can be done by the tools. There are many tools out there. And dynamic testing also can be done by the tool. So pretty much all these are done using the automated testing tool that we can use, like all the white box, black box. Then there will be another one is the gray box between the white box and the black box testing. So basically all these need to be adopted by software architect team. The release is where you need to basically doing launching of your version, could be 1.1, 1.2, and etc. So we need to make sure that our release include reduction in the known defects. So we need to know all the what are the bugs that normally all the software got release notes. Then you need to understand the code analysis to understand how the memory being utilized. Then you need to have a complete documentation, proper versioning, and you need to also comply with the legals and the license requirement. So let me just go through into the software architecture skill set requirement. So I will be focusing a lot on the body of knowledge, and I'm focusing here on the software architecture alone. So this is basically software architecture skill set. Just want to highlight with you, they got the rating from 0 to 5. 0 means you are not so sure, but you have heard it. Right? So basically, you know about this terminology, but you are not so sure. You put it 0. 1 means, well, I have read the description. I've understood how the intent of this method, and I can explain it, but I have limited exposure. That's called 1. 2 mean I have done it. So I have done quite a number of the implementation. I'm quite familiar with the so-called this method. I put myself as number 2. 3 means I can coach people, so I can tell people what to do. I can basically put the context into what I know. That's 3. 4 means you are quite master. You have already reached the mastery. You can you are become so-called well-known in your team, that you have this highly specialized skill set. 5 means you are already well-known in the industry. So basically, you know, if any seminars, any conference about this topic, you are in that list in terms of the global players. That's number 5. So they go 0 to 5. So let me just give you the first so-called subset or the pillars. The first one is software architecture development methodology and processes. So basically, this one is you have participated in many phases of software development lifecycle. You have demonstrated understanding of common development cycle and their roles in these processes, including setup and management of development environment, and give the learners tools to participate fully in the delivery of the solution. Ability to provide comparison of key development methodologies and make recommendation on when to use and what method. So this one, I mean, you are feel free to take a piece of paper and you can rate yourself. Where are you in terms of this? Take note the last part, the last sentence. Ability to provide comparison of key development methodology and recommendation. So if people ask you why don't you use that so-called method A, why you choose B, you need to be able to answer. So this is where the skill requirement for the as listed here. So you can rate yourself from 0 to 5. Where are you? The second one is on software architecture tools. So basically, you have demonstrated use of variety of tools to create working solution and participate in the development process, including significant concept of architecture tools and how they integrate with software development lifecycle. So cite example and reusable pattern for successful tool usage. So basically, you can explain and you have exposure with the particular tool. And here you can rate yourself the numbers. Where are you? 0 to 5. And the third one is on the software engineering for architects. So basically is that you demonstrated understanding and use of advanced concept in software engineering with a focus on the architectural in working with developers and software engineers. So basically you have enough experience if you put yourself as number 3. So, so you can rate yourself from 0 to 5 here. And the next one, of course, service workflow and messaging. And you are looking at you have demonstrated an understanding of current and future shift in architecture. So you look at the SOA, microservices, messaging, workflow, and other systems that have become a major component of the architecture toolset. Then you can highlight common concepts and components of this solution with a focus on providing the student with the ability to effectively use this system for their organization, including reusable assets and patterns. So this is something that you can also rate yourself from 0 to 5. Then advanced quality attribute, basically you understand about how to adopt particular attributes to make sure that the system or the software is robust. So this one also you're familiar with all the maintainability, with all the security, with all the performance and etc. So you need to rate yourself there. So the next one is on the advanced stakeholder management. So basically this one you have the ability to handle multiple stakeholders, including both business and technical stakeholders. So you need to be able to speak business lingo, and you can think and about so-called technical, but you need to be able to read and write business. So you need to write yourself. You need to rate yourself between 0 to 5. Then you also need to understand all the patterns. They got many patterns because these are basically so-called tool set that software architect need to master a lot in terms of the multiple pattern at the layers, pattern pipeline, peer-to-peer model, view controller, presentation abstraction control, implicit invocation, service-oriented architecture, dependency injection, three-tier, blackboard, and naked object. So all these are the terminology that you need to be familiar with. And of course, the ability to apply. The next one on the platform and framework, because what happens is that when you implement a particular software, you need to know what is the best platform. Yeah, and of course, all the technology here like mobile technology, client technology, integration technology, remoting technology, workflow technology, all these need to be put in the right place and applied accordingly. So these are also the job of responsibility of software architect, and you need to put your level here in terms of your skill set. And the last skill set actually is about data information knowledge management, because you need to demonstrate the understanding of ability to describe the essential of data modeling, managing, mining, transforming, converting, and reporting. And also you need to create all the ontologies, taxonomy, vocabulary, glossaries, dictionary, semantic, and etc. So these are so-called the skill set required. So typically, we also do conduct a skill assessment so that we know what are your gaps and what are the so-called appropriate training that you should embark to after knowing your scope.